Okay, let's say in CKR I have 10 rows, in MLO I have 15 rows, and in MCCS let's say I have 20 rows. So when I
Okay.
load the data, what will happen in the landing table? 10 plus 15 plus 20, that is
20.
45. Okay, it will contain
Right.
45 rows. There will be a column name SRC in the landing table. Okay, that will be
Okay.
CKR for 10 rows. Okay, and the value will be
Okay.
MLO for 15 rows. Okay, you
Okay.
understand, right? And it will be
Right. Right.
MCCS for 20 rows. So if you
Okay.
say where, okay, select asterisk from landing table where SRC
Okay.
is equal
SRC
to
equal to
CKR,
CKR.
then that will pull
Okay.
only the CKR data.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, anyone has any more doubts? Okay, no more doubts then. Okay, then we'll start. Today we are planned with the data model.
Sunil, this is Murli.
Yeah, Murli.
Quick question on the certification. Is the certification on 9.9 or 9x version or 10?
The current certification is on 10 version. I mean,
10
they actually
version.
say it is 10. It's not 10. It's still 9.6 or 9.7. I mean, because 10 is a very recent version, and I don't think they have updated the certification questions according to 10.
Yeah, because for
Basically,
some of the options, like some of the options, what you're telling are based on 10. Probably the questions, if they are on 9.7 or 9.5, some of the answering options will be different, I guess.
yeah, a lot of things are different, but the main significant change happened after 961. Okay, so after
Mm.
961 and before 961, so there are, you can say, many versions of Informatica, but mainly you can divide Informatica version into two things: after 9.7 and before 9.7. So these two are
Okay.
completely different. 9 after 9.7 and before 9.7. So
So
971.
basically, when attempting the certification, will they mention about what version are they trying to
No,
ask the
there's no,
question?
there's no specific version for. There's only admin certification and there's only development. So there's no mention of version, but it's expected that it will be most recent only, because that's what Informatica does. I mean,
So basically, so you said that Informatica MDM is supported and Oracle and DB2 in the early versions. Now it is SQL Server.
yeah,
If the question is based on 9.7 or below before, the option if we select all the three will be a wrong option, I guess.
yeah, but that's what you said is correct. But that may not be a question. But anyway, that's a good question. So see,
I
Informatica
mean,
MDM, yeah, that's
that's one
correct.
of the examples. I'm just
Yeah, yeah, but
based on the
yeah.
classes which you
They
taught.
see, they mention it
They put
as 9x certification. So 9x means literally it could be, it's not 10, but even if it's still 971, 971 is almost same as 10 only. So there's not much difference.
So is there any way we can get some of the differentiation in terms of all these features where we can say study some comparisons between 9x or 9.7 before and after?
You can, if you want to do exact comparison, that's a lot of activity. I don't suggest you to do that. If you are interested, I'll guide you how to do that. You go to
Okay.
the, one second. You, okay, I don't think I have shared this document with you. One second. No, not this. Yeah, you go here and you go to the release guide. You can see for every version. Okay, and
Yeah.
that is one thing. There you can get a lot of, for example, let's say release guide.
Hmm.
Here you'll see all the changes from
All the new features.
yeah,
Okay.
all the new features since 950 and all that. And if you want more
Mhm.
details, then you can get it from here exactly. I mean, let's say if you want to upgrade from 90 to 910 to version 10, then it will tell you all the things that you need to do. So here you'll get an exact pinpoint detail, but this is very long. I mean, you have 140-page document. This will take very long time, but release guide is more than enough. Okay, release guide you'll get on a high level what's the updates, new features and enhancements. So in MDM hub, what are the changes? ITD, what's the changes?
Okay.
They
So
keep
when did this version 10 released?
version 10 release 9 months back, 9 to 10 months back.
Okay. So we can't claim that we have done a project in
No, no, no. A
version
lot of
10.
people have migrated in version 10. Version 10. A lot of people have migrated.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
a lot of people in interviews, they'll ask you if you have worked with version 10.
Yeah.
So,
The implementations may not be there in 10
yeah, you can
people
claim
who are not.
that you have worked in 9.7.1. That's the safest thing, because in 10 there
Yeah.
are some new things like platform staging, and there are new things in IDD like entity 360 degree. So 9.7.1 is better, but still in 9.7.1 the architecture is Java oriented only. Okay.
Okay.
971 was released when? This was in 2014, right?
This was in, yeah, around 2014 early, or I think before that 2013 or something. You can check it
Yeah,
exactly.
it's almost 2 years now. We can bank on it.
Yeah, it's almost, yeah, 2 years more than.
So, Sunil, one quick question, right? For STLC, like, do we follow any velocity or anything for this one, or Informatica? If you are, if you want to have this miscellaneous question sometime else, Saturday or something, that's fine. We'll let you go ahead with your agenda. But I was just wondering, complete end-to-end implementation for MDM from interactive purpose. How does it happen?
You can, if you want to use any tool for that, you can use it, that's fine. But Informatica MDM as such does not I mean comes up with any bundled tool. So if you want to
Okay.
use any external tool for tracking and for all those things, you can do that.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
this
So go
this is
ahead with the.
this is a very simple tool only. Okay, this is not advanced tool, because this is not original Informatica product, this is purchased one. So this was actually a very small tool. Okay, I mean, Informatica, when this was Hyperion MDM, I mean, there were less than 10-15 clients all over worldwide who had implemented Hyperion MDM. But the matching and merge capabilities, the architecture was very good. So that's why Informatica purchased this, and then they remodeled this. Since then, this many companies have implemented Informatica MDM, and many are implementing. I mean, still in implementation stage. Okay, so today we'll try
Hi, Sunil.
to. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, Major. Go ahead.
so, yeah, one question here is like in Informatica Power Center, we have something called push down optimization, right? We are pushing the load onto Oracle.
Correct.
So can we say if we have IDQ and Informatica MDM, can we say that we are trying to push some load of cleansing onto IDQ and then balancing the load? Can
See,
we
if you're
say that?
using platform staging, you are not putting, I mean, actually, you are transferring complete load to IDQ itself. So there's no question of partial transfer.
Okay.
In push down optimization, some load is there on Informatica server still, and 90% of load is there on Oracle server. Here, 100% of the load goes to the IDQ.
I thought match and merge was in the hub,
Yeah,
in the
that's,
cleansing.
you talked about cleansing, right? So I'm talking about
Yeah.
cleansing only. So as far as cleansing is concerned, 100% is outsourced. But match and merge, you cannot outsource anything to anyone. Okay, that's completely,
Okay.
it has to be done in MDM only. That's not
Okay.
supported in
Got it.
IDQ or MDM or anywhere. In IDQ, you have matching features that called as identity resolution. But anyway, that's a different topic.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so let's try to understand the data model. Okay, let's quickly start with the data model and creation of an ORS. Anyway, this is not there in topic. The only reason why I added it is because anyway I had to create one ORS, because these are already a lot of filled up ORSs. So I'll show you how you can do one. That's very simple and very easy. It's not difficult. Okay, now let's first. I think I have already mentioned that, but let me repeat that again. MDM data model versus data warehouse. Okay, we'll study first this, and then we'll study MDM data model, that is Infa MDM data model versus other MDM tools data model. We'll study these two, then we'll study the details on our data model. Okay, so first, how does an MDM, master data management data model, this is generic, okay, not only related to Informatica but Siebel Informatica or any other tool, so that's generic. So how does how does an MDM data model differ from a data warehouse? A data warehouse is normally a dimension model. Okay, it's normally a dimension model, DM, dimension modeling. Or sometimes, let's say if you have a very strong database like Teradata, okay, uh, if you have those kind of database, then you would go for a 3NF data model in a data warehouse. Okay, and that is only in case of enterprise data warehouse. I'm not talking about data warehouse. Okay, I'm talking about enterprise data warehouse. You have a single data warehouse for everything in the company. Okay, so that's the enterprise data warehouse that can be implemented as a 3NF data model. But the main objective of implementing a data warehouse is to, what's the main objective? It's basically, the main purpose is reporting and for analysis. And reporting, what kind of reporting you do? Reporting, you say what's the sales volume in that particular area, and what's the profit percentage uh, in 1 month's time. Okay, so those kind of analysis basically you do with a data warehousing data. So when we say analysis, we are all talking about facts or measures. So data that is changing every day, facts and measures means, so Sunil, so let's say there's a customer named Sunil. The static information is Sunil, his name, I mean Sunil, his name, his address, his contact details. These are his static information. You can say this is also called as dimensions in data warehouse. Okay, whereas the facts or the measures are nothing but how much volume of measures means, you can measure, you can aggregate, you can add up things. So that's called as a measure. So basically, like total volume sold, or what's the total profit percentage, or anything that you can add up. Okay, add up means I'm not talking about bank account. So bank account, if you add one bank account to another bank account, it's meaningless. So that's a non-addictive fact. So this is, we're talking about addictive and semi-addictive facts. So you have addictive, semi-addictive and non-addictive facts in data warehouse. But when we come to an MDM, we are not interested about facts at all. Either it could be addictive, some semi-addictive or non-addictive. We are not concerned about any facts at all. We do not store any fact related information, because that's not the objective of an master data solution. The objective of a master data solution is to store static, I will not say exactly static, this is changing but not that frequently. So you can say it's like slowly changing dimensions data. See, when I'm saying it's similar to dimensions, you do not take it that it's dimension, because dimensions are different and these are different. But yes, you can easily correlate the dimensions that you have in your data warehouse with the data that you are going to have in MDM. So you can correlate. Okay, so you can say the information that we are interested in MDM is dimension related data. So what's dimension related data? Dimension related data means customer details. Okay, what is customer details? Customer details means name, his contact details, his address details. So basically these are the three entities: the contact, the details of the person. See, details of, it could be a person or it could be a organization. We call that as party. I'll come to that later. So details of a person and his contact details and his address details. See, an MDM can become very big, like 50-60 tables. It can grow into 50-60 table, the data model. But still, whatever the case may be, these are the three most important entities that you are going to have. Okay, these are the three most entities, and all the remaining entities are just extension of this. Okay, so now I think you got an idea on this, what's the difference between a data warehouse and an MDM, and what's the purpose of both are different. The purpose of a data warehouse is to add facts and to create reports on that measures. The objective of an MDM solution is to just maintain the master data and send it to third-party customers, third-party application. That's the main objective. Okay. Now let's try to understand what's the difference between an MDM data model, that is Informatica MDM data model, and other MDM tools data model. Actually, we are talking about the same thing. I mean, there isn't much difference. Because all MDM tools, whatever, let's say if you see this data model, the same data model can be implemented in other tools like IBM MDM or SAP MDM. But the only thing that makes this tool different is multi-domain addition. Multi-domain addition. For example, okay, so the multi-domain edition. What is multi-domain edition? Multi-domain edition means you can configure more than one domains in the particular installation. For let's say I'm the manager of Cisco. Okay, IT. I'm the chief executive information officer for Cisco, and I want to implement, let's say, an MDM. So I have two options. Let's say if I go with something like SAP MDM or IBM MDM, and my initial objective is I'll go for a see, when you go to a SAP MDM or something, if you want to purchase, then they'll ask you for what domain you want. Okay, for example, if you go for Siebel MDM or anything, Siebel MDM, it's Siebel UCM, Universal Custom Master. That's a separate product. So for every domain, you have separate products. For example, domains means, so let me tell you quickly what's domain. See, domain means basically why do you want to implement MDM? That you should ask yourself why you want to implement MDM, because what you want to store. If you want to store customer related data, that is customer contact details, customer address detail, then that becomes a customer domain, or you can say a party or customer domain. If you want to implement something like products, then that becomes a product domain, and let's say store, then it becomes a store domain. And if you want to, let's say if you're managing a retail operation something, and if you want to implement it on retail, you can also create a location domain. But no need to worry about other domains, because customer domain is the most widely implemented domain. What's the reason? The reason, we'll take a very simple and easy example. Okay, there is some question, how many domains in MDM? See, how many domains in MDM? You can configure 1000 domains also. So depending upon your need, that's what I'm saying. That's the multi-domain edition here with Informatica MDM. With multi-domain edition, you can configure any number of domains that you like. Okay, but with other tools, that is single domain like SAP MDM and all that, you cannot configure more than one domain. You have to, let's say if you want to implement customer domain, then they'll give you the software that contains predefined table for customer domain. Let's say if you want to create location domain tomorrow, okay, because of some reason, what you have to do, then you cannot implement that in here. Okay, what you have to do is you have to again purchase a separate MDM for location. So that's the main difference. Okay, there is, and yeah, that's the thing. And Informatica actually comes with three main products. Okay, so one is the Informatica MDM multi-domain edition. So when someone says MDM, Informatica MDM, they basically mean this first option. So 99% it's Informatica MDM multi-domain edition. So if it is MDM, it has to be multi-domain Informatica MDM, because that's the most widely implemented. The second one is Info Registry Edition, Info MDM. This is the registry edition. This is single domain and pre-configured. This is single domain and pre-configured. Configured in the sense you do not have to create a data model and all that. Here it is not pre-configured. this is not pre-configured. Okay, you have to configure this. It means it comes with an empty data model. That is what is the meaning of configuration. Meaning of configuration means you can configure. Okay, so if it's empty, then you can actually configure. But if it's already there, let's say the system tables, everything are already there, there's no question of reconfiguring. Okay, because it's already there. Why would you want to reconfigure? So this Informatica MDM registry edition, this is very limited, and also MDM are of many types. Okay, you will have a transaction MDM, you will have a registry MDM. So this one is for transactional purpose, transactional MDM, and this will be very huge because that's the purpose of implementing a multi-domain edition. Because see, implementing a registry edition is very cheap, okay, as compared to implementing this. And normally an organization, a big organization will go for this. Even medium organizations will also go for this. But very small organizations who uh, just want a single domain, and they don't want any they don't have any money for to invest. Okay, they simply want an MDM, and very quickly they want to configure it. Okay, so Informatica will just take 3-4 days, and they will configure and they'll give that to you. Okay, this is a customized product. And third product is actually Informatica MDM Cloud. This is basically for Cloud MDM. This is called as Informatica MDM Cloud MDM. This is also very recent, it's new, and it's basically from a marketing point of view. So this is MDM for Salesforce. Okay, this is the MDM for Salesforce. And yeah, and you also have PIM Informatica, that is product information management. That's the PIM. This PIM is very similar to Informatica MDM with product domain. So if you implement Informatica MDM in product domain, so this Informatica PIM is similar to this, but it does provide a lot of different new features, lot of features that are not supported by Informatica MDM. This is an customized for product set of things. There are a lot of things that are supported, and because as a result, this is completely a different interface at all. Okay, this interface is completely different. So Informatica PIM is not like this tool. It's a completely different interface, different tool. Okay, so but that's the overall thing. And okay,
So what are some additional features in Informatica PIM? We can configure the same domain in the Informatica MDM. No?
it's basically PIM, they have created it for marketing point of view. I don't think there is much, but yeah, I mean for not
It's
related
okay.
to MDM. It's, I mean, there are a lot of features in PIM which are not related
It's
to MDM also. I mean, that you will,
okay. We can research later. Let's go ahead.
yeah, you can check that later. That's fine. Because PIM is not an MDM product completely. Okay, it's MDM plus other features related to, I mean, product organization. I mean, like other features that you have in SAP and those kind of things, right? So those kind of things are there. So this,
I guess it involves in the purchase department and other departments also.
yeah, actually, if you
For
ask Informatica,
order placement.
even they will not clearly tell you what's the main difference. If you see Informatica Corporation itself,
Uh,
they will not tell you exactly what's the main thing. Basically, see, is the main product is MDM only. They are marketing this same MDM as this. Okay, and the original father for this, I mean, the parent for this is Hyperion MDM. This they have remarketed into multiple things. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it's a marketing strategy. But
Yeah,
in terms of the cloud, what is the interface they're giving? Is only the modeling aspect of it they're giving in the cloud, or
cloud is as of now it's only limited to Salesforce application. It's not supported for anything else. MDM cloud.
so I mean they are the backend is a Informatica registry edition for the Salesforce.
It's, yeah, raised edition, you can say. That's correct. Registry edition, but not exactly, slightly enhanced for Salesforce, because you have direct, direct in registry and in multi-domain edition, you do not have plugins to directly integrate with other applications. You would have to use ETL or middleware, but this is with the plugin.
Okay, so from the Salesforce, it is calling the registry edition to get the direct customer.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
You can go through this later. This, anyway, that's different topic. Okay, now we have, this is done, right? Informatica MDM data model and other data models. That's a main difference is the multi-domain edition. There could be thousands of differences, but they are all small and differences. Most difference is the multi-domain. And now let's go back to the third point. Let's try to understand the data model. That's the C. Okay, now I'm erasing this. See, there are many types of companies. For example, if you see, if you go for a bank, that's the banking, okay, and there's an insurance sector, there's a pharma sector, there's a retail sector, okay, there's a telecom sector. There are many different sectors. I'm not putting all, so you can put on most of the things. You will see that the most of these sectors talk about what's the most important in a banking. Let's talk in a banking. What's there in the banking? What's the most important thing in a bank? The most important thing in a bank is a customer. In insurance also, the important thing is the customer, okay? And pharma, retail, telecom, especially in telecom, the most important thing is customer, because that's the most important entity that we want to master, because our bread and butter is the customer. If you are a bank like Bank of America, if you have complete control over your customers, then you can earn in billions, trillions, okay? So that's the main objective. So that is why when companies like this, any banking, insurance, pharma, retail, telecom, or any other company, most of the companies in the world, when they want to implement an MDM solution, they would like to master customer first. They would like to first master the customer. Let's say you also have a company like let's say Cisco. So Cisco is a diverse company. They have many different kind of things. They're into multiple things. So a Cisco company like Cisco would like to go for a master customer, plus it would also like to master products, because they have very diverse range of products, and they keep on acquiring small companies every month, or you can say every year. If you see their acquisitions, you will see that they keep on acquiring lot and lot of companies. And the same thing goes with retail, pharma, telecom. Most of this, they keep on acquiring very small companies every day, okay? So it might not come in the news, but you will see that small companies, very small companies also, they keep on acquiring. As a result, here some big companies will go for two domains. For example, first they will try to master the customer, then they'll try to master the product. But you will see that the main project will be based on mastering the customer. Okay, so now let's try to understand what is mastering customer, because mastering product is very simple. Okay, it's very simple, because there are basically 2 3 at max 4 5 tables you need to create a master solution for product. For example, you see here the left hand side means whatever you see from here to here, okay, from here to here, okay, that's the customer domain. And whatever you see here on the right hand side, this is a very small product domain. Product domain will always be small only, it will not be big, because it's very simple. This is the product domain, okay? You are seeing that roughly it has only one table. These are all extension tables, okay? These are all extension tables. So roughly a product model will contain 1 to 5 tables, not more than that. The same thing goes with location MDM, or with store MDM, those kind of things. But the customer domain will be slightly complex, because here we are talking about mastering the customer, which has many different types of details. Okay, now let's try to understand and see customer. When we talk about customer, so customer will be basically of two types. Okay, one is a normal customer, that's the individual customer. So individual customer means, let's say Sunil, if I go to Cisco and if I purchase a product, I'll be treated as an individual customer. Okay, but let's say if a company like IBM, they purchase, they are order products from Cisco, then IBM will not be treated as an individual customer, because IBM is an organization, it's not an individual. So IBM will be treated as a corporate customer. Okay, and roughly in MDM, in any MDM, this is called as person. This type of customers are called as person, and this type of customers are called as organization. This is very important and very simple for you to understand. Person and organization. In MDM, we have two types of thing. In a customer domain, we have person and we have organization. Person means individual customer. Organization means corporate customer. Okay. Now, the most widely implemented data model is the party data model. It is called as party data model. In MDM, I'm not only in Informatica MDM also, it's in most of the MDM, like in Siebel or SAP or Informatica MDM, in IBM MDM. So party data model. Now what's a party? So to understand a party data model, first of all, let's try to understand what's a party. Party means an person, an organization, or an entity with whom you want to do business. Okay, for example, here let's say Sunil is a customer, then IBM is a customer, then let's say Ajay, he's a customer of Cisco. All these are parties for me. Parties means with whom the company can do business or generate more business or strategies. So that's called as a party roughly. The definition will slightly change or will be enhanced based on the MDM that you're implementing. If you go with Siebel MDM or so, then party will take a even wider definition and address, contact, everything, every information, especially a contact is also considered as a party. But in Informatica MDM, the contacts are different. The contacts are reporting to the party, but they are not a party. Okay, so basically party means a meaningful information with whom you do business. Okay, so that's the party. And what could it be? Party could be two types. A party could be a person party, a party could be an organization party. Okay, now let's try to understand this data model based on what we have gone through. A party, so let's say in MDM, what are we interested? We are interested in storing the data of the customer, which could be of two types, which could be of individual customer or corporate customer. Both these information we are going to store it in a single table, and that table will be the party table. That party table, this is the model of the small party table. Okay, so the party table contains name, alias, status, account type. Okay, name, alias, status, account type. Name means that's the name of the person or organization. Alias, some companies will also have a different alias. Okay, so aliases are normally the same for individual customer. Okay, it could also be different, but normally companies might have other different aliases. Whatever it is, alias is just an additional information about the name. Status is nothing but, you can see here, the name is just a name. Alias, it could be empty or it could be filled. It's just an extension of the name. and status is the status of the customer, that is it's either active, inactive, pending, deleted, removed, those kind of things. You in a corporation normally you will have 4, 5 to 9 different types of statuses depending upon the organization. The account type is nothing but that defines the party, that is what is the type of party this is. So if it's a person, then the party is basically an person, that is an individual. If it's organization, it's a company. So there's very simple structure of party. Okay, so we are talking about 3 tables. I just told you: base object, staging tables, landing tables. We are studying the base objects directly now. Okay, what's the question? One second. If a company has different channels like tier 1, tier 2, and yeah, depending upon that you could also extend it. For example, normally it's person or organization, but let's say if you want to store sales agents, or not as either person or organization, you want to create a separate entity for sales agents, and because you want to calculate the commission and all that separately, yeah, you can also create different account types. But roughly this is of 2 types, but you can customize it based on your requirement, and requirement in channel you can customize that. That's fine. Okay, so coming back, you can see here this is the party. It's called as C party. That's the main table, main base object table that contains the customer information. In every base object you will see that there will be a table name, there will be a column name row id underscore object. That's the, you remember the name row id underscore object. What's row id underscore object? Row id underscore object is a system generated column. You can see that the row id underscore object is there in every base object. You can see it in every base object. So the definition of row id object is it's a system generated column. System generated column means you are not going to create that manually. When you create the base object, this is automatically generated by the system, created by the system. Can I remove this? I cannot remove this. I cannot delete this column. And this
So in
column,
the base object, Sunil, in the base object, do you have the primary key from the source or no?
yeah, there are 2 options. Basically, the row id underscore object is the primary key, and it can be either system generated value, or you can preserve source system key. There is an option called as preserve source system keys. Okay, in here you can see. If you do that, then I'll show you in staging table properties. Okay, this staging table.
Should be in the base object, no?
No, this, I think it's on staging table properties, preserve source system keys. This is not on the base object, because this is configured on a lower granularity, that is on the base objects. So you say preserve source system keys. If you set it as yes, what will happen is this row id underscore object will not be system generated anymore. It will be stored from here. The option here is why it is on staging table level, because what you can do is for some source systems you can store the source key, and for some source, and for the remaining source systems you can generate a unique number. That is also you can do it. This is not advised to mix up these things. What will happen is if this overrides this, or you can say if there is something common between these two, you will be in trouble. So this is not advised, but you can do that. So you can also have a source key, you can also have a generated unique number.
That you are saying in the stage tables. In the base objects, it is always row ID, or is this the source key will be preserved?
See, just remember the row ID object will always be the primary key in your base object. Okay, and I'm telling
it's a system generated.
Yeah, no. See, that's what I'm telling. The row ID underscore object will always be a primary key. Now, if it is system generated or is it source, that depends upon this option. If this is no, then it will be system generated. Okay, if it is yes, then it will be from the source. That's the option.
Then row ID will not be generated.
It will not be generated. But say if it is yes for this and it is no for this and this, then it will be a combination, mix of both. It will be source key for certain sources, and it will be unique number for wherever it is no.
Okay.
Okay, so let's assume for simplicity that this is a system generated column. Okay, and later when I create the staging tables, I'll tell you exactly what that options preserve source system key means. Yeah, that's what I said. You can maintain both source system row ID, that is, see, let's say I have 3 staging tables, and if I say that for this you maintain it from the source, and for ODI and SFA you generate unique numbers, so that is possible. You can do that. You can mix it up also, that's fine. That's, see, that's just an option. It doesn't mean that you will do it. You should never choose that option. I'll tell you, this option preserve source system keys is only used if you are having only one source system. Okay, for example, this lookup, especially these lookups, if you see, these lookups will not have more than one source system, because lookup are referential data. Referential data means the referential data normally will not come from 100 sources, because if it comes from 100 sources, that's not reference data anymore. Okay, that's not the meaning of reference data. Reference data means it's a trustworthy data from a single system. So in that case, you can go for preserve source system keys. But if you try to preserve source system key and if you use multiple source systems, you will be in trouble. Okay, because if two source keys from two different source system collide, then that for that particular row you will get an error, and that row will be rejected.
I guess one common table will be ISO country codes.
Yeah, ISO country codes, you can say address type, you can say gender information, any kind of reference information, especially postcode, city, country, all those things that normally come from a single source, that can be used as preserve source system keys. The main objective of doing that is actually, let's say you can store INDIA as the primary key. You understand, right? So it becomes more meaningful, because let's say ISO country code. So country code is always unique, right? Country code, because you have 240 countries, and you have a unique country code for every country. So you can directly store this as the primary key. This INDIA, you can directly store this as the row ID object primary key, because this is unique. So what happens if I store it directly? It becomes more meaningful. That's the only objective of storing the source key in MDM, to make it more meaningful. Apart from that, it doesn't serve any purpose. Okay, and to track it, meaningful means you can directly track this value from the source. You do not have to join or
Sunil,
do anything as such.
a quick question here. For in performance point of view, is it better to have the system keys like numeric ones
Yeah, that's the
than?
best. Yeah, that's the best. You should go with system generated keys.
Okay.
And normally for, that's what I'm saying, normally for all these things we will be using system generated only. The only place where you might want to go for source is for reference information. For reference information you might want to go for source generated. Okay, not for these tables. You should never go for source keys in party account address. You will be in very big trouble, because I have personally faced this issue where the keys exhausted. Okay, and we have to again remodel the thing. So Informatica provides the option, doesn't mean that you have to use it. There are many options Informatica provides. It doesn't mean that you are going to use, you should use all these options. Okay,
Are you saying row ID getting expired, Sunil? Sorry, I didn't get it.
for example, let's say there's one source key, and let's say you start the source key with, let's say, 8011. Okay, and you expect that to grow till, let's say, 1 million. Okay, and you assign another from 1 million to something. What if this data exceeds 1 million? This will try to take from here, but it cannot take, because it will throw an error. You should try to make things more automatic. Okay, in MDM do not use much customized features. What will happen if you use a customized feature? You will face this problem. And secondarily, let's say you face any issues with Informatica MDM, okay, and later you want to migrate to something, let's say SAP MDM. If you do a lot of customization, then it will take 3-4 years for you to migrate to SAP MDM. You should always try to use the features provided as it is, and you should do less customization. And whenever you do customization, you make sure that that can be migrated to other tools. I mean, that's you. It's not like you're doing very huge development on Java part and then that you cannot migrate it to other tools. So that will be a problem.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Sunil. Sorry to interrupt you, but what I'm saying is, maybe when you throw the entire flow, that will probably clear this question. But why do you have to restrict it, right? See, from any database perspective or current process I'm aware of, the way we handle it is we use a single sequence and it generates a number. So what I'm saying is why we are saying use this for from this source to this source.
I'm
I
talking
don't care
about
what
this
source.
option source key, preserve source keys. So the row ID object will not be unique number generated. It will be taken from the source.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so
Then
if it's
it makes
taken
sense.
from the source, what if one source system primary key collides with another source system primary key? You will get an error.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
That makes sense. Sorry.
this is
Yeah.
what will happen. What is happening here? Once it reaches this number for one source, it will try to exceed. It cannot exceed because it's already used by another source system. So you'll be in trouble. So this is only used when you have only one source system. So this can grow to any number, infinite also. That we do not care. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and any issue we can get back to source and say, hey, fix it.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's the party table. I hope you are clear now with row ID object. There should not be any question. And the party, see again told you, and again I'm telling you, when we are talking about a party basically consists of three main things: the party itself, the name, account, and all these details, and then the address information of the party. That is because, see, why is address information important? Because let's consider any of this area here: banking, insurance, pharma, retail, anything. In anywhere, if we are talking about a customer, if we want to do business with a customer, then it's important that we have his address details, because we want to post something, advertisement strategies or any kind of thing. If you want to post the invoice, so or any information, you would need the address. And even more important is the contact, because you need the phone contacts, and more important is the email ID and the electronic contact. Okay, and if like advanced contact details like your Facebook, Twitter, and all that, so those kind of things as well. So the most important entities of a party will be address and contacts. If you see big models, for example, this is an enhanced version. This is a party data model that is small. It's not small, it's the most with the most important entities. And this is a bit enhanced data model which we'll study later. This is the same thing. You will see the party here, then you see the contacts here. The address is slightly complicated because normally the relation between party and address will be many to many. In a corporation, it will never be one to many. In this case, in this case, it is one to many. You can see that this is one, two slashes means this is one, and you see this multi symbol, it means one to multi, that is one to many. So that's the relationship. But normally in an organization, the relationship between party and address will be many to many. And from party to contact, it will be normally one to many. But if you want to implement many to many, we'll learn how we can do that. First, let's complete this data model, and then we'll study this data model. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the data warehousing, we try to implement the slowly changing dimension type 1, type 2, type 3. So we can implement the same concept here in maintaining the different versions of the
Yeah,
addresses.
by default it is type 1, but if you want to implement type 2, you can do it here. The support is there for type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5 support is not there. It's only for type 1, type 2. Type 1 is not enabled by default. Sorry, type 1 is enabled by default. But if you want to enable type 2, then you would have to go here, take a right lock, and you have to select a dynamic timeline here. In the property, if you select dynamic timeline, then SCD type 2 is implemented using start date, end date.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, going back. Now address. What's address? Address is very simple. Address means it contains the ADDR name, means it contains the full address. That is, full address means complete mailing address. It could be mailing, billing, anything, but it's basically the address. This is part 1. Address line 1 means part 1. Address line 2 means part 2. State, city, country, house code, address type. I don't need to explain. This is very easy. You would have already guessed it. Two things here. Row ID object is a primary key. See, remember, this row ID object and this row ID object, even if the names are similar, they don't have anything to do with each other. They are completely different. Okay, this is different than this. This is for this table primary key. This is the primary key for this table. Now you see something as party ID. Party ID is nothing but the foreign key to this party table. For example, if you see here, this party table and this address table, party ID is the foreign key. It means party ID, the relationship is party ID of the address is equal to the row ID underscore object of the account table. Okay, the party ID of the address is equal to the row ID object, that is this row ID object of the sorry, not account, the party table. This is, I have changed it from a customer model to party model. So let me rectify this. Okay, so that's the relationship between the party and an address, and that's the relationship between a party and an contact. We'll see what is the drawbacks of this small data model, because this is a small data model. This has some drawbacks. I'll tell you when we study here, then I'll tell you what's the problem with this data model. And the contact details is also simple. Row ID object, party, this is the foreign key, initials, first name, middle name, last name, gender, phone number, email ID, fax number, date of birth. So this is all simple. Okay, so I hope you would have you understood this base object data model. Okay, and then the structure of the staging table is also similar. You can see it's the same structure, and the landing table is also similar to that of a staging table. Now the question could be, do I have to keep the staging table same as the landing table? Not exactly, but you cannot create a separate structure for a landing table. For example, if the base object contains these many columns, then you must create only, when you create a staging table, you can choose only any of these columns. If let's say I want to create a column called as XYZ in the staging table, and let's say the XYZ is not there in the party base object, can I create it? You cannot create it, because the structure of a staging table is basically inherited from that of a base object. And now the second question could be, can I create a structure of the landing table that is completely different to that of a staging table and base object? Yes, this landing table can contain 1000 columns, and let's say the base object contains only 4 columns. That's fine. This structure and this structure are completely independent, technically speaking. I mean, you can create this anything, but from maintenance and from architecture point of view, it is always advised to synchronize the structure. I mean, to keep the structure of the landing table very similar to that of the party. What will happen if you make this different? If you make it different, you are unnecessarily complicating things. Okay, if you make it simple and use an ETL tool to do all the calculation and put the data into the landing table. Calculation means, let's say source system contains data. The party data for the source system is there in 3 different tables. Now you use an ETL to join those 3 different tables and put data into the landing tables. That's the main objective, that is simplification. What happens if we do this is, the MDM projects will succeed very quickly if you try to synchronize this tree structure. Okay, that's one
But
thing.
here, base object is not exactly the same as staging, no? When you don't have the primary key.
Yeah, I
or
mean
the
that's correct. It's not exactly same, but this I'll tell you about these two columns. What is this difference? But I'm talking about the main data columns. I mean main columns. These columns I'm talking about. These four columns that are coming from the source. I'll tell you what this means. This last update date SRC PKSRC. But the main structure is the same. Okay. If you see for most of the table, the main structure is the same. The now coming to here, the additional columns PK SRC object. This is the primary key from the source. Primary key means, let's say party ID is the primary key. This, let's say party ID 1001 is the primary key from the source. Then this must be mapped to this. This party key ID must be mapped into PKSRC object. That's the objective. Okay. And row ID underscore object. This feature, normally the row ID underscore object will be null, but this has a special usage. Okay, this is a very advanced thing, so you might not understand, but you remember this, you remind me later. Load by row ID object, this is an advanced feature from Informatica. Okay, this has a special usage. Normally you are not going to populate anything into this row ID object. As of now, remember that this is not used. Okay, it's just populated null, but you later remind me. I'll tell you and I'll show you what is the special usage. Okay, so this is mandatory. PKSRC object is mandatory. If you do not populate, your job will fail. Last update date is should be the last update date from the source. Okay, last update date should be the last update date from the source. Nothing special about it. Party ID is the primary key from the source, and these are all same. SRC is, I already told you, this is basically used to distinguish different source systems. Okay, we are already done with the time. There is one more thing I should have told you, that landing tables. What's the why single landing table? Why can't we create multiple landing tables? Because technically we can create more than one landing tables, but why are we going with a single landing table? Okay, I think I'll answer this question tomorrow because already we are out of time. So I'll start the class with this. I'll tell you when you need to create more than one landing tables also. I'll tell you that. We'll go through this data model. This is almost done. Then we'll go through this data model, and then finally we'll go through this this real-time data model. That is, this is a very bigger, large data model. I'll tell you this one by one. We'll try to understand this data model, and with that we'll finish the data modeling tomorrow, and we'll start designing this data model, how we can create the tables, relationship, this staging, landing tables, all that. Okay, so with that we'll finish the class today. If you have any doubts, you can quickly ask.
Hey Sunil, I have a quick question on networking. Can I call you later?
Yeah, you can call me. You have my number, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can call me. I'll ping my number to everyone. Anyone who are facing any issues with configuration or anything, you can directly reach me. I'm pinging my direct number. This is my direct number, and this is my mail ID. You can directly reach me. Okay.
when can we start working on the model? Once we are done with this
Model
model, we
tomorrow.
can.
We'll start designing the data model. We'll design this data
Okay.
model tomorrow. Okay.
So then we can start creating our own model based on
Yeah,
that.
you can start creating, either you can follow this model or you can create this model. Both are fine, but I suggest you start with a small model, because creating the data model is not the big deal. The big deal is later, the creating the mapping sheet. I mean the mappings for that data model, and more important is creating the match sheet. Okay, how do you configure the matching and all that? If you take big data models, this will take very long time to configure.
So did we get that spreadsheet?
I think I have shared, right, this spreadsheet. I have updated some information. I'll share it with you later also. Again, I'll share because I've updated some information. But I think I have already shared the older one.
Uh, let me check. If not, I'll send you an email.
Yeah, okay.
Sunil, can we call this a 3NF modeling?
This is, yeah, you can call this as a 3NF modeling without
Okay.
facts or measures.
Okay, got it.
Okay, guys, if you don't have any more questions, then we'll finish the class today.
Sunil, what are the timings that we can contact you directly?
Contact me. You can contact me anytime. That's fine. But yeah, Indian timings, you can contact me. And if I'm not in another class or so, I'll pick the phone. Otherwise, if I'm not picking the phone, then assume that I'm in another class. I'll call you back. Okay, so you can reach me. That's fine.
Oh, and one quick question, Sunil. Today is 20th, right? India 21st. What are the working weeks for this week, considering we have a Christmas
That
coming?
yeah, you should tell me. What's I think most of the people in US, what time you'll be taking holidays? You you'll be taking holiday on 25th on your time. That's your
We do like 24th
Right.
and 25th
Yeah,
usually.
24th also is not possible because I'll be
okay.
traveling.
24th US time, 25th. That's fine, right? Or you want any more days? This is fine.
And then,
And the coming week, 31st.
yeah, 31st. Yeah.
31st. That's fine, right? Anything else?
And we are all talking about US dates here.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
US date only. That's US. I'll confirm.
Yeah, I missed one class, so just making sure.
Yeah. Okay. So this is fine, right? You don't need anything else. If you need, then you tell me before that, okay? Because at the last moment, I might not cancel the class.
Sunil, 26th also, I would be available.
26. I mean, I'm talking about majority of the people. You will not be available during Christmas. That's fine. Okay. So probably this is almost like a big weekend. So that's fine. Okay. I'll inform you later. But let me check the 24th, 25th. I'm giving off. 31st I have to give off. 26th I think okay we can make it off for these days. Okay.
26th itself is Saturday, right? Saturday we don't have a class, do we?
26th Saturday. Okay, yeah. 26th we do not have class any day. So 24th, 25, 26, 27, 20. Yeah. So
So 24th, actually 24th night, basically, which is
27.
25th for you.
So 24, 25, 26, 27. Then we'll have some class on 28, 29, 30. Okay. Then we can give 31st or 1st off. Okay. Okay, guys. Let me plan it and I'll communicate that to you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sunil. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Great class, Sunil.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.